Good morning. I'm Gina Terusio,
I'm Alicia.
and we are here with Nethaniel Ealy of Ealy Construction here in wonderful Latah County, Idaho. Nethaniel is part of our Latah 411 podcast, in which we bring to you the awesomeness that is Latah County, Idaho, and the businesses within it. Nethaniel, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here, Gina and Alicia. Appreciate it. So yeah, it's a pleasure.
Good, thank you. I hope that you can still say that at the end of our podcast today.
Me too.
Tell us about you.
Sure.
Business.
Yeah. I moved here in 2001, so I've been here almost 20 years, and I've got a family on both my side and my wife's side in town. We just love it here in Moscow. Don't plan to move away. Hope to have a gravestone here someday. So want to see this community thrive, and we chiefly do that through construction.
So tell us what kind of construction. Give me a little bit more of a picture of your business, please.
Sure. Yeah. Starting out, I was working for other companies, and then launched my own company in 2006, and started off with remodel. So our first job was actually a historic remodel in Fort Russell. We worked on one of the old, I guess considered a mansion in our town, and restored it using or trying to match a lot of the historic details. So really fun, challenging project to kick off, and then kind of grew from there. As we grew and evolved, we did various things, like we would do repairs for property management in our early years. We also have built some custom homes. And in the last several years, we really focused on remodeling only. So we call ourselves a remodeling company at this point, and we focus on that exclusively. We will consider new construction, but it has to be something that's really challenging, really beautiful, and we just find that more in remodel. So that's why we stick there.
I find that interesting. So when you do the remodels of the historic properties, do you try to find the historic materials too, or are you able to use today's kind of technology?
Mm-hmm. Both. So for example, in that project, we actually took some of the old historic trim profiles, and we had to have custom knives made to recut those profiles. And so we milled trim that was an exact historic match and installed it in the home. And then of course, on the details inside and out, we were just matching them. So for example, when we added dormers on the home, they had matching details on the siding and the soffits and cornices and everything. So
I have a kitchen screaming for you right now. Oh my goodness,
right.
How fun this would be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Alicia, go ahead.
What's your favorite room to remodel?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know that I have a favorite room to remodel. We end up doing a lot of baths and kitchens because they're more complicated. So people hire those out more often than say, repainting or just reflooring a bedroom. But we've done all. So I would say, a couple of our favorite projects that we've ever done are typically the most challenging. Probably that historic remodel is one. We really enjoyed building out Tapped on Main Street. That was a really fun project for us. A lot of details there that weren't on the plans that we were able to add, and in collaboration with the owners. That was fun. And then we've also, in the last couple of years, we did a bathroom for a couple where we actually cut down cedar trees on Moscow Mountain, dried them, and then grain matched them on their cabinets. So the grain matches on all four sides, the same wood from local trees. And we were able to just, the details in that bathroom just came together in an amazing way. So that type of thing we absolutely love. Yep.
Far more of an artist than that concept of construction,
Yeah.
You're really, it's a detail. It is the details.
It really is. It's the details that matter when it comes to, remodel especially. And that's what we enjoy. And our whole team is really comfortable working with people, being in people's homes, being cordial, friendly, and realizing that we're actually, invited into your home to work versus just, banging nails into 2x4s. So anybody can do that side of the work. We're fond of saying, but it takes a little bit different touch to interact and to come into someone's kitchen and rip out the center of their home while they're still trying to live in the home and still try to make their experience, as bump free as possible.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are you dog friendly? I got a couple big dogs that when you do the kitchen, you'll have to.
Yeah, we routinely work with pets. Yeah, in fact, our operations manager, he is probably one of the biggest pet lovers out there. So no, definitely not a problem for us.
Good. So tell me about how many people you employ and what kind, when you look for employees, what's your sweet spot?
Yeah, we have 8 people on payroll at the moment, and what we look for, we're pretty, over the years we've gotten pretty focused on what we're after, and we have 5 core values, and we hire for those core values. So we were very open about that up front, and that pretty much guides our hiring process. In addition to the core values, of course, we're looking for, competency. But before even both of those, we're looking for a cultural fit. So we ask people a lot about their habits and who they are and what they like to do, at work and off of work, because we want to know that they're going to be able to, enjoy working in people's home closely with people, be able to work in a team environment. So we cover that first, then we cover the core values, and then we cover competency in that order.
What are their core values?
Yeah, so for one of them is that we're grateful enjoyers. So we actually really love Mondays. We love coming to work, and we are grateful for the opportunity to remodel people's homes. And we're serious about that, and our whole team is on board with that. So that's a big one. We're performance driven, so we're not here to punch the clock. It's all about results and getting things done and moving the ball forward. We are organized organizers. And what that means is that not only is each person on our team organized, but they're creating an impact zone of organization around them at all times. So things are constantly getting more and more organized proactively and not just top down. That really helps. So it's not just me kind of pushing everybody, to get it all done. Another one is that we borrowed Patrick Lencioni's humble, hungry, smart paradigm. And so we've just combined that as one core value. So we're looking for people who are teachable, approachable, but at the same time, they're internally motivated. They're hungry to learn, hungry to grow, get a raise. And they're not only just, intelligent, but they're people smart. So they're really good interacting with other people. And then lastly, we have, and I'm just glad, I just have it on our wall right here, so you can't see it. It's right out of the camera view. Yeah, at the end of the day, we are also always golden rule caring, is what we say. So we're always looking out for our clients as well as our own company interests, wanting to treat others as we want to be treated and caring for them in that way. And that's shown up in many different ways. One of our team members notices that, because of the remodel we're doing, the person's furnace is not on, so they bring over a bunch of their own heaters to the home, or a client has an anniversary and they're flying back in to come to their tore apart home, and so there's flowers on the table and a note, that type of stuff. So
That's so sweet.
That doesn't surprise me with you, just in my interactions with you. But I think that the outside world is starting to see this, is it not? Did you not get a really cool award here recently?
Yeah, we were greatly honored in our industry. There's basically kind of 3 award arms, and 2 of them are tied to publications. And we applied for the 2 in the publications, and I don't recall why we just didn't even apply for the 3rd one, but we actually won first place nationally for both of them for best kitchen remodel under 75,000 in the country. So
wow.
We're extremely honored for that. Yeah, sure.
Congratulations.
That's right here in Moscow, Idaho. Yeah, we're super proud to host that here in Moscow, Idaho.
We need to dig into this a little more. So what's the governing body that decided this, and who were you up against? I mean, give me a little context, because this is, a national is huge.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty big deal. It's so each of them are slightly different, but they all have a real common format. So there's typically something like 12 to 15 levels of consideration, and there'll be things like, okay, did the remodel tie into the existing home design well? Were durable materials used? Was the remodel done on time, on budget? Was the homeowner happy with it? Is it objectively beautiful? They just go down all these criteria, and typically they're scoring on like a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 on each of those criteria, and then totaling the score for an overall. And so I couldn't tell you how many people applied. We don't actually know the number of applicants each year, but the competition is usually quite stiff, and it is nationwide. So for example, when we did Tapped, we actually won second place nationally for one of these awards. And that was like blew us away. And then when we did the bathroom I described, we won first place in the Northwest. We were half a point off of winning national for that bathroom. But that's how much it matters. Like, and the half a point was that the bathroom didn't quite tie into the rest of the house as well as it could have. And it's because it was a big departure, and they were wanting to move this direction. And so you miss it just by that little bit. So it's very, very competitive.
Yeah. So I feel like I ought to hand you a statue. I want to hand you an Oscar. This is that magnitude.
Well, we're very humbled and grateful. And like I said, we love what we do.
I think your values that you were mentioning earlier are very supportive of this kind of performance. I am very impressed by that. I don't think that's a norm at all. I think that unfortunately,
it's definitely something we've had to work at for a long, long time. We've as much as all this sounds grand and great, and it is, it's been a long slog. We've hired probably north of 100 people over the time I've had the company together, and there's 8 of us here today. So it's taken a while to hone in on the values and why they matter.
Yes.
So do you struggle then, and this is kind of a context question more than anything, in Latah County, do you struggle finding a skilled enough workforce, aside from that central core personality or work ethic? Do you struggle finding, or do you take them in and train them in the ways you want to have things done? How do you normally do that?
Yeah, so at this point, we are hiring talent, and we're looking for it. And if somebody's not a match on the culture, the core values, or the competency, any one of those, we won't hire them. We've figured out that we're too small to hire with the expectation of training. We would probably need to be 5 or 10 times bigger to have a training department. And until then, we have to hire talent. And that has been that's the choke point for us at this point in our growth. So we're actually right now at the early stage of about a month-long campaign to put together a marketing push nationally to hire and bring people to Latah to work with us.
Cool.
You sit on the regional housing leadership team here in the.
I got volunteered by somebody.
Gee, I think whoever that was is pretty brilliant. But I think your voice is very important, and unfortunately, we're on this housing leadership team, but unfortunately I am hearing, and maybe you would agree with me about the fact that this workforce is really kind of a choke point for a lot of businesses, but then
it is.
The workforce is as well. So
yeah, it definitely is. So there's going to be, from what we can see in the construction industry as a whole, there's going to be at least a decade plus of labor shortage that's going to be increasingly acute. So it's going to be harder and harder to hire talent over the next decade plus. So I could get into that, but you let me know if you want to hear about it.
That is a soapbox I think both of us would jump right on given the opportunity.
Yeah,
but
so maybe we should keep going.
Sounds like there's a niche for somebody to create a trade school for construction or something. So whoever's watching this podcast, let's get a trade school going.
There are definitely many that are launching, and those, takes a lot of time. So that's why I said probably decade plus. Yeah.
And I think some of the, we have a very, believe it or not, an abundant workforce in Latah County, but we need to reskill. We've got a lot of people that have either opted not to do the traditional 4-year education route. There's people that have exited the workforce and now recognize that they're bored out of their mind and need to retool, and so I think we've got it. But I agree with Alicia and Nethaniel as well. We absolutely need some sort of, if it's a trade school, for lack of a better phrase, career and technical education, that sort of thing. We do need it. I know LC has some degree of it. I hope that, if that is something that you can avail yourself of, Nethaniel, that you have some input into the curriculum or the value teaching. It seems to me that there would be a chance for a match there, potentially.
Yeah, I haven't connected with them at all. That hasn't been on our radar. We have at times reached out to the colleges and, the colleges of architecture, construction management at WSU. And again, we really, for what we do, we really need field experience. So they haven't been matches for us, even at that level. Even after having maybe a 4-year degree, they're still, for our purposes, very, very green. So we really at this point, have resigned ourselves to the fact that we hire talent and go from there, because we're a small company. But that doesn't mean that that's the solution as a whole, because it certainly isn't. We definitely need trade schools.
I appreciate that open mind right there as well. So the killer question that I always ask all the businesses that are on Latah 411 with this is, if you now are, say you're 70 and you're ready to retire, what is the one thing that you would tell a person entering the business with the same concept of a business as you? What's that key thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that, for at least for me, building the business was all about the benefits and the lifestyle. So for me, one of the things that I have to keep in mind constantly, because I am naturally driven and energized, is what this is all for. And for me, it's all about glorifying God and also enjoying my wife and family. So it always comes back to those things. And anytime it doesn't is when I am, I'm like, why was this so hard? And then I'm like, oh yeah, because I got my focus off, And so if I keep focused on those things, it helps, it's like a lodestar, guides everything else. And I think that's really, one of the reasons why Ealy Construction is a great place to work, and why our team would all say that, because, we know why we're about what we're doing each day. So I would tell somebody to keep that in mind. It's like, why are you doing what you're doing? And always keep that in front of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That like a rudder on a ship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Guiding. I have to say my first meeting with you was in a less than lovely situation that we had at council, and something that you wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
Was it? And you were so awesome, in spite of the fact that we had just said no. But I think that
good. I probably wasn't feeling awesome, so I'm glad it came out that way. Yeah.
You were very respectful, and I think that what really struck me and has carried through our conversation and our working relationship is that you really do not lose track of that end goal or the end goal, and it's nice to see that a no is maybe a way of trying to figure out to do it a different way, or it's been really refreshing. And I think you really are the true spirit of an entrepreneur, in that they aren't full stops at that point. It's definitely a way to innovate or figure out a different way to do it. I loved your idea though about parking below a housing structure. So don't lose that, man. That was a cool idea.
Well, Well, thank you. I'll take your words as a high compliment, and I'll keep the parking in mind.
Well, tell us how we can get a hold of you before we close today. What, you
Sure.
have a website? What's the best way to get a hold of you? Phone?
Yeah,
What?
the best way to get a hold of us is probably to call our phone line, and Alex is answering all our phones, does a fantastic job. Our number is 208-596-1181, and our website is ealyconstruction.com, EALY construction.com. So either of those places you can find us, and of course we're also on some multiple social media outlets. So easy to find us with a Google search.
Yep, definitely. Well, it is always a pleasure, honestly. Nethaniel, you're just fascinating to me, and I think it's fun to find someone so grounded in just solid common sense and a goal. I just enjoy it. So thank you for your time. And I wish you huge success, although you're managing it without any wishes from me with your awesome national award. And I hope that we can get some images. Please share some images that we could help put out on social media and places for you. That's very important. And we are just thrilled to have you here in Latah County.
Thanks a lot, Gina. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Enjoy.